There was something up there, and I could feel it was evil.
I fell forward.
Excuse me, why did you push me?
Then he went through the door.
Help me.
When I realized what I was seeing wasn't human, the hair in the back of my neck stood up.
I'm saying, nope, nope, this isn't happening. I'm not seeing it.
I was afraid. Is this thing gonna get more aggressive? Is it gonna start doing something physical?
This guy wasn't human. My heart was pounding. I was sweaty. I was terrified.
On the western shores of Lake Ontario, in a remote psychiatric hospital, retired Special Forces soldier Rob Simpson has begun a career as a security guard.
I was a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, Special Service Force, seen a lot of action, was wounded on several occasions, including gunshot wounds, knife wounds from hand-to-hand combat. They no longer needed me because I was injured. I couldn't do my work, so I became a civilian.
Rob's military training makes him ideal for potentially difficult patients.
You had your handful. You'll have people with depression, schizophrenia. We have criminally insane. You had to patrol every floor. You had to secure that building and ensure nobody was in there. You could get creeped out in a hurry. Many a building I'd go around and the hairs are standing up. I'm an ex-soldier. I thought nothing scared me. But my year at that psychiatric hospital taught me what fear truly was, and I had to rely on my training to keep myself in the game.
On my way.
Rob responds to a call to back up a fellow officer.
Make him stop!
The nature of these people was they could turn violent fast.
Quiet down!
Oh, I can't take it.
Just tie his arms down.
Okay, come here.
And you're not dealing with the strength of one, you're dealing with the strength of 10. It is very hard to control these people once they go into a rage.
It's been going on for days.
What's he talking about?
It won't stop. It's up there. Can't you hear him?
You keep saying that there are noises in the attic.
What noises?
S02.
I don't know.
Those noises. Right now. Get that guy. Get
Relax.
Those I can't relax.
Calm down.
Make it stop.
What the hell is that?
Make it stop.
That banging wasn't normal.
Oh, make it stop.
Okay, we gotta go check that out. We gotta go check that out, whatever that is.
Oh.
Calm down.
We're gonna make it
it.
stop.
Figured I'm gonna have to go up and see what this is.
Okay, just relax, relax.
With the patient calm enough to be left alone, Rob and the other officer head upstairs to find the source of the sounds.
This is where it's coming from. We gotta go up, check it out.
Rob enters the dark stairwell leading to the hospital attic.
And the whole time you feel like something's watching you. And you're on guard, you're on alert, you're like, what is going to happen? What is happening here? This feeling, you're not alone. You'd see something out of the corner of your eye, but you couldn't quite make out what it was.
think it stopped.
Yeah, I don't hear it now.
As I'm coming up the stairs, and I can see the floor and then the attic door.
Look at this. It's been torn clear apart.
On the floor is a broken padlock.
It's ripped right out of the door.
There was an attic door, and no one would be given access to it. It was an empty storage space.
I don't like the look of this.
Rob is now on high alert for an intruder.
Check it out.
I approached the door. I slowly opened it.
If an intruder or a patient broke into the attic, they are no longer there.
There was a few old beds, there was some boxes, there was nothing else.
There's nothing here.
Where the hell's the banging coming from? You heard it.
I don't know what I heard, but there's nothing here.
After installing a stronger lock, Rob finishes his shift without further incident.
I could feel eyes on me. It's a sense I developed in the military overseas. You knew when somebody was looking at you. There was something up there in the attic. I could not clearly see it, but it was glaring at me. And I could feel it was evil.
Take a stop.
What the hell is that?
Take a stop.
Security guard Rob Simpson investigates strange noises from the unused attic of a remote psychiatric hospital. He discovers the lock broken,
It's been torn clear apart. Check it out.
but no one inside. Upon leaving the building, he sees something that shouldn't be there.
Something in the attic. So I don't know what it was. And I could feel it was evil.
Rob's background is in the military and he saw active service. This brings with it the type of training which makes you pay attention. That's how soldiers stay alive. They notice things that are out of the ordinary that others may not. It can mean the difference between life and death for them.
The figure disappears from the window.
That took my breath away because I'm like, what was that?
Rob radios the other officer to meet him at the attic door.
I found a lock on the floor, totally useless. It's broke.
Who's doing this?
What's going on?
It was scary. Every nerve in my body was saying, get out. It's bad in here.
Check it out.
Fully expecting the person to still be in the attic, the officers move in quickly.
I walked in there, and the feeling was borderline terrifying because it was like something wanted me out. It was a heavy presence, like something was towering over you and pressing on you.
I can't even see any rodents or anything like that. There's nothing. So I don't know.
There's no sign of the strange figure Rob saw in the attic window.
I come out, staff told me, "You look like you've seen a ghost."
Rob immediately takes steps to strengthen the door.
The maintenance man nailed the door shut with 8-inch spikes.
This is extremely disturbing. The fact that something might be powerful enough to actually break steel implies it might be capable of something far more harmful if it was directed against Rob or the patients he was watching over.
For 3 nights, all is quiet.
I can't take much more of this. Jeez.
Until the patient below the attic begins hearing noises again.
Was this thing tormenting that patient? They would get pounding at night on the door. So something didn't like the fact it could not get out that door.
You ready for this?
We knew it wasn't a patient because before we nailed it, I had swept that whole space. That banging on the door wasn't normal. It was otherworldly.
I am not pulling those spikes. I don't get paid enough for this.
You could feel the bangs through the door. I knew it was a haunting. I knew there was something there. The only thing I can conclude, it's the spirit of a patient because that wasn't a happy building.
There are entities capable of exhibiting enough force to break a lock. There is a precedent for such activity. For example, there are cases in which fireplaces have been dragged out of the wall, along with the gas pipes that feed them. Heavy equipment has been moved, vehicles driven off the road. It is possible for the more powerful kinds of entities to exert this level of force, and those are ones that you really want to watch out for.
Next thing that happened to me was scary, very scary, because I thought I was in for the fight of my life. I hear this woman scream. A blood-curdling scream. Sounded like it came from the elevator shaft. And I'm like, have I got a woman in here and got hurt?
After seeing a figure in the attic window of the psychiatric hospital, security officer Rob Simpson is investigating unexplained noises from the attic.
That banging on the door wasn't normal. It was otherworldly.
Whatever is behind the door is barely contained by 9-inch nails.
I am not pulling those spikes. I don't get paid enough for this.
I knew it was a haunting.
After hearing a blood-curdling scream emanating from the elevator shaft, he is under threat by an earthly figure.
This guy wasn't human. There was rage in his eyes. I'm scared. I'm going to get hurt. Poof, he's gone. It scared the crap out of me. I was terrified.
It's emotional for you.
Oh yeah, I didn't think it would be.
Rob decides to report his experience to the security staff.
I was told by the head of security, back in the 50s, a nurse was killed on the 3rd floor.
Who killed her?
There was a patient. This male patient attacked her one night. The details are pretty gory, but he drug her up, tied a rope around her neck, tied it to the rail, threw her over the rail. That's how she was found, hanging at the top of the stairs.
When there's extreme emotion in an area, often it will imprint itself psychically, leaving a scar on the atmosphere, if you will. And the patient that Rob saw was believed to be the apparition of a murderer who had killed a nurse in that facility and hung her body in one of the hallways. You consider the amount of intense emotion that would accompany that kind of act. There's no surprise to me that this plays itself out again and again and again.
I'd had enough of the danger. I moved on to a veterans security company and a much quieter existence. I can say for sure, spirits walk among us based on my experience at that psychiatric hospital. There is darkness, there is evil. A few years after I quit that job, they demolished the old hospital and built $500,000 homes. I wonder how those people sleep at night.
Despite working in a hospital under extensive renovations, Registration Officer Phyllis Cesar is as busy as ever.
My main job was to register patients as they came in to be seen in the emergency room. I mainly got demographics from the patients or their family members, and that would be their address, phone number, insurance information, emergency contact, talk to them about co-pays, anything relating to what they're in the hospital for. Nothing medical, that was taken care of by the nurses, but we just got all the personal information.
Dr. Roberts, pediatrics, Dr. Roberts.
Hi.
Hi.
I need some help.
What's wrong?
I have this pain in my side.
Oh, well, have a seat.
Thank you. Oh.
I'm sorry you're not feeling well. Do you have any identification on you?
I do, yes.
A lot of people say that they came into the hospital scared, nervous, angry, and after dealing with me, they felt so much better.
So it's just a pain in the side. Any other symptoms?
No, if I stretch or move, it's just really, really painful.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, why don't we do this? I'll get you registered and we'll try to get a doctor to see you, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
One of the things I really liked was explaining what's going on because they're nervous, they're scared, and they just need someone to comfort them.
There you go. If you just
Thank you.
have a seat over there, we'll get you out of here in no time.
Thank you.
Here you go. Thank you.
It was about 3 o'clock. There was a young man who was sitting in the lobby waiting to be seen. Everything seemed nice and calm. All of a sudden, this guy grabbed something off the floor and came into my room.
What's going on here?
What do you mean?
This pin just hit me.
And he held his hand out, and it was a clergy pin.
I've never seen it before.
A black and silver pin with a cross on it.
That's really weird.
Had you ever seen this pin before?
No, never.
But evidence seems to suggest otherwise.
I had no idea where it came from, how this pin was flying out of my office. I started thinking, like, how could this have happened?
As her shift continues, Phyllis prepares to go on her dinner break, which takes her through an empty part of the hospital.
Every night, we would have to punch out in a time clock for supper, and I would take this one route, and I would go right past the operating area. I started seeing various objects move. Doors would slam. It just seemed like activity was almost every night. I fell forward with a strong force.
What the hell?
I really feel like I was pushed or tripped.
What?
It was quiet, and just this skeleton crew was at the hospital working.
But it seems she's not entirely alone.
Excuse me. Sir?
I saw a man, young man, in a hospital gown pulling a IV pole behind him.
Excuse me, why did you push me?
Sir, excuse me. Excuse me, why did you push me?
Then he went through the door. The hair on the back of my neck stood up, and I'm thinking, no, you're crazy, you know, that you don't see anything. It's just your eyes playing a trick on you.
She heads for the room the figure would have passed into.
There was a room that we would put family members in when their loved one was passing. It was a nice, quiet room. Then there is an orb floating in midair. Very slowly, it floated toward me. It was terrifying.
As a Florida hospital undergoes extensive renovations, ER registration officer Phyllis Cesar experiences a string of events that disrupts her very foundation.
My heart was racing, my mind was going a mile a minute, trying to logically explain what was going on. Then it just continued out the door toward the outside. I was in so much shock. What the heck just happened? And it's like, oh my goodness, I'm shaking. I was wondering how much more I could take. You do question yourself. Are you losing your mind? Are you seeing something or are you making it up? But I know it was real.
Hospitals are places of great human emotion. And oftentimes when we have a place of human emotion where people are both very happy, very upset, then you get haunting phenomenon going on. It's very closely related to human emotion and the spectrum of emotion that we project into the environment.
Despite being shaken to her core, Phyllis has to regroup. She still has patients to attend to.
It started making me nervous, and I'm thinking, oh no, I have to go past this area every night to punch out for dinner, and I don't know how long I'm going to be able to handle this.
The next night, Phyllis once again goes on her mandatory break.
I'm really glad you came with me today because I've been seeing a lot of really strange things going on here.
But this time, she asks the security guard to escort her to the punch clock, although she hasn't given him all the details.
We're walking down the hallway, and he goes on ahead, making sure nobody's up there.
What's that?
Sounds like music.
There shouldn't be anybody up here.
All of a sudden, halfway down the hall, a radio kicks on and is blasting music.
I think it's coming from in there.
Sounds like it.
And I said to security, was there music playing in any of these rooms? And he said, no, absolutely not. It was all quiet.
Security. What's that? Somebody's coming from OR6.
We went into the room.
Security! Hello? Anybody in here? Security! What the hell's going on?
I could see a ghostly figure of a man.
Security!
He was about 70, 75 years old, and I could actually see he was balding with fringe hair. But I know it wasn't human.
ER registration officer Phyllis Cesar discovers that a vacated wing of a hospital undergoing renovations is populated by more than just construction workers.
I'm saying, nope, this isn't happening. I'm not seeing it. And I'm thinking I really need to find a different way to go to the time clock, but there wasn't.
Security!
The security guard, being an ex-military man, was trying to be brave, but you could tell that it was affecting him greatly.
Phyllis decides to face the reality of what she's dealing with.
What do you want?
I started talking to him and I said, "It's okay, you can go. You don't have to wait anymore. It's time for you to go home."
Just go. Be free.
I actually felt a sense of relief after saying that.
You can go. You don't need to stay here anymore.
It just floated right by and went out the door. The security guard was trying to shake it all off like it wasn't happening.
Should I go follow it?
No need.
But he couldn't discount seeing things that he can't logically explain.
People forget that these entities and these intelligences, all of this non-physical energy, is very much receptive to us as people. We often think that we need somebody special, like a medium or something like that, in order to communicate with them, but ultimately, they read our energy.
Maybe we don't talk about that to others.
Not a bad idea.
I really felt that once the construction started and so many things were disrupted in the hospital, that a lot of activity started happening. It's almost like they were being disturbed and they wanted to let people know that they were there. This is the pin that was thrown to the patient who was in the emergency room.
People have often reported that when a building is under construction or renovation, that certain energies or vibrations might be triggered or get released into that space. And it's unclear as to exactly how this seems to work, but PK energy or psychokinetic energy can sometimes start to activate as these renovations are happening.
Soon after, Phyllis decides to leave the job, to put distance between herself and the haunted hospital.
Construction is far from over. A lot of coworkers, I keep in touch with them. And they tell me there's still activity going on in the hospital. I'm relieved that I'm not experiencing all the things that I did when I was there.
What the hell's going on?
You can go. You don't need to stay here anymore.
I definitely feel like it helped me to connect with the spirit world and to be more accepting. Even though many times I was scared, confused, and not a willing participant, it really has changed and made me who I am today.
It's 2014, and making the rounds at this hospital in Northern Virginia is recently hired internal medicine specialist Dr. Donald Mulner.
I practice internal medicine, and it's things such as hypertension, diabetes, heart problems, strokes, COPD, asthma, anything like that.
All right, Lucy.
Oh, good morning, Dr. Mulner.
Morning. Yeah, 105 is perfect.
Okay, so 115, she's waiting for you.
Okay, great.
I knew I wanted to be a physician from childhood. I used to go see my pediatrician, and I was amazed in his office how he could listen to my heart and tap on my knee and come up with reasons what was wrong with me.
How's my favorite patient doing?
Much better, thanks to you.
I enjoy working with the patients and being able to give them answers. When somebody says, "Dr. Mulner, I really appreciate what you did," it just makes you feel good inside.
You keep this up, and you're going to be out of here in no time. Nothing to worry about there.
That's good to know. Good to know.
Well, I'll be back in a little while to see you, okay?
Okay,
Take care.
super. You too. Bye-bye.
Being a physician is like being a detective. For me, it's like putting a mystery and a puzzle together, being able to work through the pieces and come up with what's going on, and it is pretty much like solving a mystery.
But Dr. Mulner is about to experience a mystery for which no amount of medical training could ever prepare him.
One afternoon, I was walking down the hallway, and we have a drink room where you can get soda. I was walking by the room, and out of the corner of my eye, I saw a lady. She had long brown hair, and she looks like she doesn't belong there. So I took a step or two past the doorway, and there was no time. There was no time for anybody to leave or to hide or to get out of there. And I stepped back because I'm like, wait a minute, what did I just see? And there's no way I just saw a lady standing in here and now she's not here.
With his patients now sleeping quietly, Dr. Mulner catches up on paperwork.
I was sitting there putting notes into the computer and doing my work.
Help me. Help me.
And all of a sudden I heard a lady's voice say, help.
Help me.
Hello? Is anybody there?
I look around and there's nobody there. Now, you know, sound travels and all that, but this definitely sounded like a lady's voice. There wasn't a person there that could have said help.
Hello? Is anybody there?
Help me.
When I heard the help, it made me want to spring to action. Every now and then, you know, a patient will end up on the floor or a nurse slips or falls, so I thought I needed to get up and help somebody. I looked around and there wasn't anybody that needed help, but clearly somebody said, help.
Help me.
My adrenaline was pumping. It was hard to shake.
Dr. Mulner continues to sense that he is not alone.
It felt like something was watching me.
There are so many senses beyond the physical ones that we don't recognize or even acknowledge. One of these senses is the ability to feel when we're being observed. That is a sixth sense. That's something that's put in there for our survival, a kind of spidey sense to keep us from harm.
Help me.
And once again, I heard a voice out of nowhere saying, help. And it was enough to make you feel like somebody really needed help. You need to get up and help them. I look and there's a shadow, a grayish, blackish shadow. It was looking right at me. When I realized what I was seeing wasn't human, the hair in the back of my neck stood up.
At a hospital in Northern Virginia, Dr. Donald Mulner experiences a series of unexplainable events, eventually leading to a terrifying encounter with a mysterious shadow.
I was shocked. You could kind of see a head to it and maybe some shoulders, just standing there looking at me. And then it just darted. So this thing was like there, then poof, it just gone. But I could see it go. I could see it run away.
Hello?
I was shocked. I really questioned that I had seen what I saw. What is going on in this hospital? Because this is insane. And it seemed to be focused around me to some degree.
The following morning, Dr. Mulner turns to a trusted colleague for answers.
My job, we weed out all the possible explanations for patients. But in this situation, I couldn't explain it.
Lucy, hi.
I was talking to one of my docs who works there with me.
Listen, I'm gonna ask you this. Have you seen anything strange that you can't explain?
Dawn.
She's like, Don.
You know this hospital is haunted, right?
This hospital is haunted. I'm like, what? I'm like, what makes you think that? Now, I hadn't told her my experience.
Yeah, don't you know about the lands it's been built on? It's been built on plantation property.
The hospital is located in an interesting part of town. There was a lot of plantations. There was a lot of slaves. So she started telling me, I hear all these noises. Every now and then the bathroom light comes on by itself.
There's often a lot of paranormal activity in areas where a number of tragic and dark events have happened. There is a buildup of energy. It becomes supercharged. There are so many stories that need acknowledgement. There are so many spirits who need to find peace.
During another grueling night shift, Dr. Mulner finds a moment to catch some much-needed rest in the staff sleeping quarters.
So I decided to go to bed, although I was a little bit leery going to bed this night. There was a figure standing there. It actually gave me chills.
Help me.
I was afraid. Is this thing gonna get more aggressive? Is it gonna start doing something physical? What does this thing want? And what's it after? And what can I do? And what is it? Why?
Beneath this facility where Dr. Mulner worked was a lot of energy which had built up over time, a lot of tragic events, a lot of stories that need to be acknowledged, a lot of spirits that need peace. These situations, these sounds, these images replaying themselves over and over like a recording until these spirits can move on and find peace.
But the spirits have not moved on. Dr. Mulner and the other staff continue to experience strange phenomena.
This hospital continues to be haunted, and it seems like the activity is increasing every day to the point of where you get a little nervous to go into work. In fact, my one doctor friend says she doesn't even want to sleep in that office anymore. It's frightening, especially when something is really trying to get your attention, and something that doesn't scientifically make sense or medically make sense. For you to have that experience goes against everything you've learned as a physician and a scientist to say, this doesn't make any sense, but this stuff is happening. It was thrilling, it was scary, it was real. My experience at the hospital has definitely changed the way I look at what happens to us after we die. There are ghosts and there are afterlife, and that things are trying to get your attention from beyond. I'm always a little skeptical. It's the scientist in me, the doctor in me. But from my experiences, these things happened, and there's no other explanation for them. And ghosts and spirits and the afterlife is real.